AI's coming. We've had a few recent changes in federal government, I think is that the polite way to put it. We've seen some business owners maybe with the, they need to learn how to pivot.
Yeah. Without taking it out on their employees, their spouses, their children, their pets, the barista that they get their coffee from.
I knew there was going to be a catch to this.
Yeah. How about we talk about that in our first episode?
Sounds good. She's the CEO.
He's the marketing and operations guy.
If it's broken, you need
the business fix.
You were on a recent trip.
Yes.
It looked like fun. You were in a car that had no driver.
Yes. I was in Phoenix, Arizona, and I got to use the Waymo for the first time. Have you ever heard of Waymo?
Yes.
Yes.
Scary?
No, because there were people on the trip that had done it before me, and I figured if they didn't die in a fiery death, it was okay for me to try it.
Good trip, though.
Very good trip. I'm an entrepreneurs organization, and so we're in something called forums. So there are 6 business owners. We all go together, took some tours of different businesses, did some fun things. We horseback rode. I think, what else did we? Oh, I indoor skydove.
Oh, very cool.
Yes. Mildly traumatic, but I had a good time.
I don't like heights, so if I skydive, that'll be how I do it.
Yeah, exactly. It was a great time. Good. There's a video of me with it looks like I'm sucking on a vacuum. So
Good.
Super fun.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. It's interesting because when you're out doing that, I'm like lucky to feel like I leave the house in a lot of cases, and I'm like, okay, it's March, it's Ohio. I'm not leaving the house. I'm just going to stay hunkered in, and I'm going to work on the business, and that's going to be about it. Yeah. Speaking of which, AI.
Yes. Sounds so ominous.
It does. But we're talking about it in context. We'll probably end up doing an episode on AI specifically.
Yeah.
I think there's enough in there for us to talk about that.
Oh,
maybe.
Absolutely.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Just maybe. There's also been some slight changes at the national government level.
A few.
Right. Whether you like the administration, hate the administration, as a business owner, holy cow, is there some adaptation that is needed for a lot of these executive orders? There's, just a whole different way of looking at things, I think. Why do people need to adapt to this? Because I see a lot of people that are like full steam ahead, the same direction we were going.
Into the wall.
Repeatedly.
Absolutely.
From your perspective, that change, first off, what makes it hard for a lot of people, and why do they need to embrace it instead of saying, look, let's just keep going on? Okay.
So I would say there are 3 big statements in dealing with whether it's the political pendulum or it's artificial intelligence changes. The first is that change is inevitable, whether we like it or not. It's going to happen. Adaptability as a business is a competitive advantage. So that's the second. And resilience, which is how we respond and have flexibility, is a skill, not a trait. So I'd say those 3 things are really important, especially as you're dealing with the political pendulum swinging back and forth. It's gone, Josh. I've heard people say, I'm going to go to jail because of this. I'm like, no, you're not. Your company's not going to let you. I've heard some people say, I'm just going to pretend and ignore. I'm just going to go live in my basement. I'm going to just wait for 4 years. I'm like, we can't do that as business owners. We can't do that as leaders. So we really have to start thinking about, what can we do to adapt?
Yeah, it's interesting too, because I've heard a lot of people say, like, when you said the pendulum swinging, you never see it at the bottom.
No.
It seems to go this way. It seems to go that way. We'll do front and back here just to avoid any political context.
Doesn't stop in the middle.
You never see it in the middle.
No.
You see it at the ends, but you never see it in the middle. The adaptability piece and how that's a competitive advantage. Why do you think a lot of people don't see that?
I think oftentimes people think of extremes as it's a thunderstorm or it's a hurricane. I just need to weather it. I don't need to make any changes to it. As opposed to, no, you just went from living in the middle of Ohio and you just got dropped into the middle of Arizona. So it's not snowing anymore and cold. It's 85 and sunny, and it's not going to change. It's just going to get hotter. So I think when you take it as a weather example, it makes it a little bit easier to understand, oh, this isn't something that tomorrow I'm going to wake up and it's going to be different. It's going to stay this way for a sustained period of time. So helping individuals, especially when we're business owners, to realize that, it's not necessarily what is in the situation, but how I respond to it that is so important. I think that oftentimes, especially in the short term, we think if I just ignore it, it's going to be okay. Like if I just think, AI is going to get regulated and then I'm not going to have to learn about it. I'm like, no, they're not going to lock it back up in a basement.
Right.
It's here. You've got to talk about it. Same thing with like whether you agree politically with the new administration or not. You're going to be dealing with it for 4 years, and at least for the first 2 years with some major changes. So, it's really just that understanding of, how do we respond? How do we react? We don't have to like everything, but we do have to figure out how to run our businesses. And if we have people, how to manage the people around it, because they have emotions around it as well.
It's interesting you say that. There was something that was like pivotal for me that changed how I thought about things. I was working with a client. He sells trucks. And he just got off the phone with one of the truck manufacturers. He's like, I ordered 1,100 trucks. They tell me they're going to send me 700 next year. Right.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
Right. My eyeballs got about that big, like, uh-oh. And they're paying me to do photos and video for them. And I'm like, uh-oh. I'm like, that's like a 35% hit to business. And mind you, he just hung up the phone with them. Mm-hmm. Just got that news. And he just shrugged his shoulders. He looked at me and he goes, it's moving target. And first off, I'm my once again, that same look you have on your face. I was like, what? Huh? What? it's moving target. It changed counties.
Yeah.
But the way he handled that to me was just like, oh crap. Yeah, no, everything in business is a moving target. And if we aren't readjusting for it, even if you think there's my target and that's where I'm going for, you may not see it. It may be moving towards you or away from you a little bit. It may not be upright left down, but it's still moving. It could be slow.
Yes. And how do you get it to push forward in a positive direction?
Yeah, to me, that was the biggest thing. Seeing that it was this, it was this constantly moving thing, that it's that journey, not the destination. Mm-hmm. We are going that direction. We may have to take some twists and turns on the way there, and we may think that direction is that direction.
Yes.
Even though it's not. Why do you think, as business owners, we're maybe a touch stubborn? Yeah. Maybe
wired a little different.
Correct. Yes. Correct. I think everything's fine. It's not on fire. Do you think that stubbornness that allows us to be business owners is part of the thing that also kind of, cuts us off at the knees?
Oh, I think it can. But I also think that it gives us the capacity to think differently. So especially for those of us that have been, if you've been in business for more, let's see, it's 2025. If you've been in business for more than the 7 years. Okay. Because normally we have like a 6-year cycle. We have a 6-year economic cycle, 8-year economic cycle. So if you've been in business for 8 years or more, you've seen a positive and you've seen a negative. You've seen a down cycle. So if you've never seen a down cycle in business and this is your first down cycle or first major change in administrative perspective, because, we had 2020 to 2023, we kind of had some different things going on in the economy. We kind of had some additional stabilization. It really was. And so for a lot of people, when they normally would not have performed well, they had their best years ever. But that's sometimes what happens when you have some, whether you call it government interference or you call it additional market regulation, stabilization, whatever you want to call it. I think for some people, I'm being politically correct here. For some people, it sustained and didn't make them or cause them to have to make difficult business decisions. So now we're seeing sometimes business owners that have been in business for 7 years or less. This is their first time of going, oh, this is different. I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I want to have to make these types of decisions. So I think for those of us who may have been in the trenches for a while longer, we just go, moving target, similar to what
Yeah.
your business colleague said. And so, yeah, it is. It's a moving target. You kind of figure out, what do I need to do? How do I need to adjust? What are the things that I need to do if I have employees with my people? There's nothing wrong with, looking and saying, do I have all the right people in the right seats in my organization? Do I need to upskill? Do I need to look at moving in a different direction? Do I need to use the P word and pivot? But I think it's important. So having that mindset of, this is a learning opportunity. It may not look the way that I had built in my 5-year business plan or my 10-year business plan, or in my case, my 6-month business plan.
The next 3 weeks.
The next 3 weeks. But this is what I need to do moving forward. Looking at it as a shift, it's learning. There's no failure. There's just learning. There's just new information. What do I need to do to keep moving forward? I think it's important.
So here's a question. And we've talked about this. I mean, I don't want to say ad nauseum, but a fair bit. You're much more the CEO. You're much more the visionary type. I am much more the operations guy. I am much more the boots on the ground. Here's the minutia of what's happening. Something that, when we get these changes, I see, okay, what's the next step that I need to do? Okay, there's this little change. I'm going to make this little tweak. From your vision, when you see these, I guess I have a 2-part question on that.
Yeah.
How do you say, okay, look, here's the next big thing that takes care of this. But with that, do that in a way that isn't just taking wild swings at the next idea that comes along.
I mean, how do you not burn out your people with all your new ideas and your future forward thinking?
That's a piece of it.
How don't you tick everyone off?
Right, because there's 2 pieces to that. To me, there's the need to pivot. That is difficult to say.
It is.
There's the need to change your mindset or change what you're doing, but I've seen organizations too where, once again, instead of this winding trail, this thing looks like a zigzag where someone, you gave a 5-year-old an Etch-a-Sketch.
Yeah. Very true.
So how do you moderate that? What thought process do you use to say, okay, look, we need to change 15 degrees, not change 115 degrees?
Yeah. I think some of it is when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a visionary, and when you're leading people, not everybody's going to be able to move as fast as you can. And most of the time, the reason you're in the seat that you are is because you have moved faster and you're willing to take bigger risks than generally the people that you're paying to do a job. There's a reason why you're the CEO or you're the entrepreneur and they're the employee. But one thing that I would say as you're trying to make those big decisions and moving forward is taking the perspective of you can see the vision as to where you want to go. But most people in an organization can only see 2 or 3 steps ahead at most. Yeah. Hand raised.
That I may be guilty of that. Yeah.
So shaping the path, making sure that people understand this is the direction you're going. Because if I looked at most of my people today and said, look, we're going to double our size, but we're not going to do it with probably any employees. We're going to do it with technology. And most of the robots are going to be doing the majority of the work that you're doing now. I have a few that would say, oh my gosh, we're not going to have jobs at the end of this month. She's going to let us go. No, that's not true. Oh my goodness, what is she doing? But if I can say, look, I'm starting to model and work on some different types of technology within our organization. I'm spending so many minutes or so many hours a day learning this technology. And I want you to start thinking about it. Not that you have to have all of the answers and not that you need to understand that you're going to completely AI your entire workflow. That's probably not going to happen. But I need you to not be afraid of the fact that we're going to look at new things. Same thing, I was thinking about this today. And, when we had the introduction of, a fax machine, a copy machine, telephone, email.
The dot matrix printer.
Yes. The ever all-powerful internet. These were major technological advances in office work and business that drove organizations forward. But I can only imagine, because I wasn't in business for some of those. I was in business. I was 16 when I had to train everybody in our organization how to use email. That was fun. But
did they ask if it needed a stamp?
Oh, they were so confused. That's a whole nother episode. All the things Chrissy's had to do on her road to CEO. But I think it's important to kind of think about, as you're approaching some of these conversations to empower your team and even empower yourself by we're not going to be afraid of it. We're going to learn about it. And that doesn't mean that we're going to adopt everything, but it does mean that we're just going to be curious. So that's part of where my perspective is. I look at this, I look at AI, I look at administrative changes at the federal level. It's just like any other business disruption. And we just have to kind of take it and go, okay, well, what does the landscape look like tomorrow? What do I need to start working on and focus on to get us to the end of this week, to get us to the end of the month? And then as things start to stabilize, you can continue to plan a little bit more ahead, quarterly, maybe yearly. But I think we're in a space right now, Josh, where things are moving so fast on the tech level that we're going to have to kind of real-time strategic plan. So if you're not used to thinking on your feet all the time, that's why I think a lot of small business entrepreneurs are going to thrive in this environment because we're used to things being different all the time.
Yes.
I think large corporations are probably going to struggle a little bit more with adoption. So we're going to see, how do I continue to just stay relevant and keep my brain relevant as I'm continuing to grow and learn new things?
It's interesting you said you brought back up AI. I had a conversation with someone just earlier today who's like, I don't know if AI is going to be that big. And
Really?
He said
No.
he started it that way. And then he pivoted to like, yeah, but we went through the internet and they said, look, the internet's going to take your jobs. Then we went through other things and he says, they're going to take your jobs. And I was like, look, my take on it is like with the AI stuff, I need to study it. I need to be up on it. I need to be using the tools because either if it does take off, I need to be on that train.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not on that train, I'm not going to be able to grab a hold of it once it's up to 60.
Yeah.
Once it's flying, I'm not going to be able to hold. I'm not going to like. What was it? It was Buster Keaton was famous for grabbing onto trains at like 15 miles an hour in the old movies back in the 1920s. Yeah, this is the marketing video reference guy in me being the complete dork. I can see the concerned look on your face too.
Yeah. Wow, you just pulled that out of the air.
Yeah, but you're not going to be able to grab onto that train.
No.
So if I spend some time on it now, I'm educated if and when it does really change things. And I feel like it already has changed things. But when it exponentially changes things, then I think I'm on board at least.
Yeah.
I'm hanging on. It may be kind of on the back of the car, but I'm not trying to catch up to a 70-mile-an-hour train that's moving past.
No. And perspective for me is, there's part of me that feels like we're in the middle of an arms race in who can adopt AI fastest.
Oh gosh, yes.
Who can find the best way to do things. And some of it's ahead of regulation. But the other thing, when people are like, I don't think AI is going to take all of our jobs. Nobody said it was going to take all of our jobs. But I think it's going to eliminate the need for some of them. I mean, a great example is, Allstate Insurance, the giant insurance carrier.
Yep.
Has just announced, and they don't do anything unless it makes fiscal sense. So they just don't.
They have a reputation
for being very good. They were the first to outsource internationally in their claims department and their underwriting compliance. And so now they made the announcement that their claims processing is all being done by AI. Mm-hmm. It's being responded to in AI, and that is customer facing. And they did it because research showed them when they were testing it that their AI bots were kinder, gentler, and more reliable than their human compatriots. So to the point that their customers liked the AI better. Mm-hmm. So they have eliminated, in essence, a whole department of people. It doesn't mean that they have let all of these people go. They're not going to hire new people, and they're going to move them into other parts of the organization. So when people say, I don't think it's going to replace everybody, I agree. But I think it's going to change how people hire. And so I think it's really important, especially as a small business, because a lot of times as small businesses, we run on thinner margins. We need to make sure that we're just a little bit. We need to make sure that we're being good stewards of our resources and using people in the way that they can truly shine and make things relatable, because not everything needs to be done by a human, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's funny. The analogy that I often use with AI is I feel that AI is going to do for a lot of knowledge work what Henry Ford did for blacksmiths.
That's a good one.
Yeah, because we do still have some blacksmiths.
Mhm.
There are still people that love having their horses.
Or on Instagram.
Correct. All over the place. Instagram, you can find them all over the place. Not far. The other piece to that is there's still people that are using the metal trades in cars. Body shop people. There's the dent wizards. It kind of similar in terms of that trade, in terms of metal forming, metal shaping. So the people found different jobs. It took some education. It took some evolution. I mean, a lot of blacksmiths ended up working in automotive factories or as mechanics, things of that nature. It took some adaptation. The thing that I find that's interesting is the ability for AI to speed up the efficiency and the amount of work.
Absolutely.
There are things that we would have that in the podcasting world, it would take us 3, 4, 5 hours to complete, that we're now letting AI do and we're checking. So we end up with 45 minutes in it instead of 4 or 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's that type of efficiency that what it does is it change it. We now no longer need 4 or 5 people to do that. We need 1.
Yeah.
So it changes. Where are those other people? Well, they're doing other things now. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how that takes. I know we're going to talk about AI more, and it's such a hot topic. It's hard not to just perseverate on it.
Yes.
Not that either of us ever do that.
Not at all.
From an administrative standpoint, your world is largely HR and healthcare.
Yes.
Those seem to be changing
so fast.
Right. Have you even read the memo before it's ripped out of your hand and a new one's stuck in? That's what I wonder in some cases. To me, what are you seeing that business owners need to be aware of for the immediate future that's changing?
As far as from an AI perspective or from regulatory perspective?
From a regulatory perspective. And whether it be like, hey, look, do we see inflation coming? Do we see this coming? Do we see that? I mean, what are the things that you see that you're like, I mean, I guess the best question is, what are you thinking? Like, look, this is the stuff we need to look at over the next 6 months to a year.
So I would say there's probably 3 things, and they're really commonsensical. Number 1 is immigration is a big topic right now within the federal government. Have your I-9s correct in your organization.
Ooh.
Make sure you're hiring and doing that processing correctly, because E-Verify is a thing and you need to do it. You need to keep all of your I-9s in a separate binder away from all of your other employee paperwork. So, I mean, as a small employer, it's probably something we don't usually think about, but it makes sense just to have it done. It's easy.
It's that 5-minute thing.
It is.
That can really screw you.
Yes.
Simple enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's been a lot of changes on the DEI side. Like, do we have it? Do we not have it? I think what we're probably going to see as time goes on is there going to be some changes in, how do we classify or talk about, what diversity looks like or how we're going to hire. Follow the same rules that you've always followed. I mean, that's the one thing that they never changed. I mean, we had a very big push on with diversity, equity, and inclusion, but equal opportunity employment rules never changed.
Be a decent human.
So just be a good human and hire the way you're supposed to. Don't look at somebody and go, you're this race or you're this gender or you're this, whatever you identify as, and we only want X. We don't want Y. Just don't do that. That's an easy thing to say. Don't discriminate in your hiring, no matter what. Okay?
That seems pretty simple.
Whether the pendulum swings one way or it swings the other way, to me, it's the same message. So I know there's a lot of feelings and emotions around, again, I've heard people say, I will go to jail over this. And I'm like, I don't think your employer, large corporate employer, is going to allow that to happen or is going to claim you if you decide you're going to. I think that's a problem for somebody who might make tires or take care of people's bodies. So just saying. And the third is something that we say all the time at Clarity HR, which is making sure that your employees are classed correctly and that they're working the right hours that they're supposed to be working. So making sure your wage and hour is correct. Fair Labor Standards Act. At the end of the day, federal government would like everybody to be an hourly W-2 employee. And I don't say that and come after me. No, I say it because that's what tax revenue is based on. So making sure your exempt people are truly exempt, your non-exempt people are truly non-exempt, and you're keeping track of what those hours need to be. We did see a huge pendulum swing back with the rollback of Fair Labor Standards Act. There was a court case in Texas that rolled it back to before any of the initial things took place from July of 2024. So we actually went way back in time at the beginning of this year, and are continuing to figure out, what does it need to look like? But just class your employees the right way.
What's a tip for someone what's 3 quick tips to give someone how to class their employees the right way? Because we know there's a lot of people out there that are like, hey, you're a manager, so you get paid salary. And they're like, what am I managing? They're like, your daily tasks.
No. No. So I would say first is, if you don't know the answers, find a certified HR expert that can help you. I mean, that's shameless plug. Just maybe a few. Just a couple teams of them. The other would be one thing that's huge is like, everybody I have is a contractor. Like, do you tell them when to show up? Do you tell them exactly what to do? And are you their only person that they work for? Yes. Well, then they're an employee. They are not a contractor. So that's the other, the big thing is, don't act like you're contractors that only work for you, that show up at 8 and go home at 5 and have lunch from 12 to 1, or independent contractors.
In your building.
They're not.
Wearing your t-shirt.
No, the hell they're not. You're their LinkedIn profile. It says they work for you. No.
Yeah. So you have seen maybe a couple of those red flags.
Yes. And that's a huge red flag, especially if you're in the medical community. So you have like STNAs, you have different types of individuals that are contracted workers, but they're only working for you. That is a problem.
Gotcha. Interesting. Well, we're going to do a segment of the show that is quick shot topics, if I can say it.
Yippee.
Yes. Something it's kind of interesting. 1/3 of small businesses are experimenting with generative AI, and 1/4 of them are already seeing the upside, according to a recent small business survey. Now, I know we talked about a little bit about this. To me, it is it's helped our business immensely. We're offering new tools that we're using for clients all the time. It's tools that we're building.
Yes.
They could build them also, but we've got the background in how to build this specific tool to this specific thing. But it's been huge for us. It's been absolutely huge. I would encourage anyone out there, be part of the 1/3 that's using it.
Please.
Spend the time now. Don't be like, how long ago was it? It was a long time ago when you were teaching people how to use email. Yeah,
it was a few decades.
Right. Don't be the people that are learning how to use email at age 50.
No.
Get into it now. Get into it now. That would be my thing. You had something on AI regulation, possibly.
Yes.
This is, or lack thereof.
Well, it's an interesting spot because very much so. So if you followed the current administration, there was a speech that was given by our vice president in Europe about pretty much like, we're going to run full steam ahead as the United States with AI. And you know what? I'm okay as we move forward with innovation. There's some things where I'm just like, we're not going to have regulations, or we're thinking about having regulations. There's certain things that I think we are way ahead of where we probably should be from a regulatory perspective. And so the question that I have is, do you run hard and fast and wait for them to put the wall up and then stop in front of it, hopefully not running into it? Or do you take a little bit of time to kind of figure out, what should we do? What shouldn't we do? Like a great one is, there are these new sales AI tools that can robocall like literally 1 billion people right now, because there are no parameters on how many people you can call at a time.
I get a lot of those.
Do you think it's a good idea if you have people on the do not call registry and then you accidentally call them? Or, oh, by the way, there's all of these lovely regulations that we have against people or for people to protect them that are over the age of 65. So we got to be really careful in how we market and what we do. So I think that oftentimes you may have the best of intentions in trying to make sure that you get your product out and you hire all the robots to do the work for you, and it may be causing a problem. The other is, and this was interesting, when DeepSeek came out, I got a lot of messages from people in one of the groups that I'm in, the entrepreneur groups, of like, have you tried it? And I'm like, no. They're like, why? Why haven't you tried it? I'm like, I'm not trying that piece of software until I know that it's not going to violate the terms of my cyber protection policy.
Yep. Yep. People aren't looking at that.
And that chat got really quiet really fast.
It's funny too, because the other thing is most of the tools from my perspective are pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Some are better than learn how to use one tool really well. You don't need all the tools. Pick one, learn how to use it.
It's really hard for people that want to do all things like me.
Right. No,
okay, I'll just pick 4.
I get it. The other thing that I'll say to that too, the Grok, the last version of Grok that was released. Where it would teach you how to make chemical weapons.
And we're training it in real time to not do those things.
Correct. We need to find some balance there.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of other news, the one that both made you and I both cringe a little.
Yeah.
LinkedIn has changed its algorithm recently. As you scroll, you've probably noticed it looks very different. Organic reach is down 65% from 2024. I found that very interesting. Posts with engagement in the first hour get 12% more reach is what's being shown. Carousels and PDFs perform approximately 1.9 times better than the median post. Video reach has dropped a little bit. LinkedIn is favoring some more text and graphics, which I found surprising.
Yeah, the things we hate doing.
Correct.
Thanks, LinkedIn. And you said, I would say I hate seeing the same 12 posts that I've seen for the last 2 weeks. It's like if it got engagement, I have to see it 10 more times.
The other thing that they found is posting 1 or 2 times per day builds compounding growth. I don't want to see something... Chrissy, I love...
Because we need 2 jobs.
Right. I love a lot of the stuff you post. I don't want to see it twice a day.
I'm supposed to post the exact same thing twice a day?
No, not the same thing.
Oh,
different things.
Then it gets then you're that person. Do you remember when Facebook first came out? And you're like, I'm getting my coffee. Had lunch today. And it started with your name is, and you had to create the sentence like Chrissy Myers is hoping that today is going to be a wonderful day. Is looking forward to getting her life. Like, I don't want to do that anymore. That was dumb.
No. And with LinkedIn, I see this is going to be a problem because in a lot of cases, we're going to end up with people just posting AI garbage of just randomness. I've fought this with a couple of people that we've worked with and said, look, post quality stuff. It will get out there. It's one of the reasons why we do a lot of the video stuff. I'm going to get my shameless plug in also.
Yes.
With the podcast stuff. So you can get out there in front of people on a regular basis. But by golly, don't just post twice a day. Like, here's my coffee. Because first off, we don't want to see it. I will block that shit so quick that if I see your coffie on LinkedIn, I'm out.
Oh, be so sad.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't.
No, not at all.
I worry that hearing that is going to cause people to post garbage. And LinkedIn has been a great platform and there's been a lot of great information on it. I've really enjoyed it. Since the algorithm change, I have not liked it as much. I could be saying get off my lawn, but yeah.
Well, and if you have, my struggle has been lately, those individuals and organizations that generally have really good content, I'm not seeing them anymore.
No.
I'm seeing the same networking post from, I love Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses, but I've seen the same networking post and photo like
10 different times.
It's in my feed every day. I love you, Tammy, but it's every damn day. And it's the same one.
That means we can tag her in this
from 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah. No, we can tag her in this now. That's great.
Yeah.
So, because tagging does help.
Oh, LinkedIn. Does it? Okay.
Tagging is still a key for LinkedIn. Tag the hell out of people, annoy them.
Okay.
That's a big key. So yeah, like our podcast here, I will tag you in this.
That's totally fine. And then maybe I'll actually see it in my feed. That and the networking event that I missed 3 weeks ago for 10KSB. And I'm like, gosh, I realize I should have been there. I was traveling. I couldn't be there. I know it's like, I feel like the universe is mad at me. Like you should have been, you should have been at this event.
FOMO.
Seriously.
It is really playing into your FOMO. Like you missed this.
It is.
Now this is why you should have been afraid.
But there is part of me too, Josh, that wonders if like, in changing the algorithm, maybe somebody used AI to help with the algorithm. Because I look at the things that you're like, these are the things we have to do. Like, I don't feel like they rationally thought through this. Like, you must post 1 to 2 times a day. Your content must not be a video. It must be like, all of the things that we were doing even like 6 to 8 months ago. It's completely different.
And it's the stuff I don't see as much value in, because
Agreed.
to me, carousels in a lot of cases, I can see, like, if something comes out once a week, it can be educational.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the carousels I see are like 6 slides. Like there's one thing and there's 6 slides of fluff. Yes. And I'm like, why? I kept swiping left to get to something good. It was like Tinder. You're like swiping to get to something good and it never happens.
No, because somebody is telling their virtual assistant, I need you to do 12 carousels. I don't care what it says, but I need 12 carousels because that's what I have to put in my algorithm. And then I'm going to hate you because I'm going to see your content all the time. I'm not going to learn anything. And I can't figure out how to hide you because that's the one thing, like unfollow, whatever it is. LinkedIn, it's harder to unfollow and hide people. It
is. And then you know who I'm going to blame for this? Gary Vee. Right. No, we have a similar opinion. He screams he's unbelievably charismatic. He's an intelligent guy. Mm-hmm. He's been in the system for so long though. Everyone wants to build the empire that Gary Vee has, and they don't realize you don't do the things that Gary Vee does. I don't know about you, but I do things like in Pedal Stomper Productions, we do things differently than Warner Brothers.
Yeah, we kind of have to.
Right.
We're not the same demographic.
Right.
Our client's a little different.
Different scale.
Yep.
Different. There's a lot of things different there, but a lot of people are like, oh, hey, I want to be Gary Vee, so I'm going to do the same thing. Yeah. No. And it's difficult. I'm glad. I thank you for being my therapist on that.
You're welcome.
That to me, I think that pretty well covers this week.
Yeah.
This was a good first episode. I thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's fun.
I think we're going to have a lot of exciting stuff. It's the Business Fix is the website.
Yes.
Thebusinessfix.com. We're going to have that, the social media. Make sure you leave us a review.
Please.
Chrissy says please. So you have to do that now. Subscribe. We would love to hear what you want us to talk about. I mean, I think we've proven that we can have some pretty good and interesting conversations. Give us something to talk about. We will go out and do the research and come up with this next week or the following week. I don't know what it is yet, but we are talking about cash flow.
Yippee. How to pay our bills.
Yeah. Well, we said it earlier. We said, pay your damn bills, people. That's how we talked about it, and how to make sure you get your bills paid. There's a GIF that I love to share with people. It's a Family Guy one. It is Stewie beating up Brian because Brian owes Stewie money, and he's like, "Where's my money, man? Where's my money? Where's my money?" To me, the thing that I would like to end on is that strong businesses start with smart people and benefit strategies. Let's make sure yours are built to last.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys later.